Welcome back to Podcast Royal. We have had quite a busy week of royal news. We had multiple royal birthday celebrations that we'll chat about. We've got some official state visits underway, including a tiara moment. We also had a few unexpected royal sightings and some relationship news. But before we get started today, Rachel and I do want to send our thoughts and prayers to the people in Australia. I know it's been a hard week for you all, and our hearts break for your tragic loss. So I saw the news of that over the weekend and just truly heartbreaking.
Yeah, I second that. It's just absolutely awful. Violence has no place in this world, and our true and sincere thoughts and prayers go out to our listeners in Australia. We know there's a lot of you. We love you, and our hearts are with you.
Rachel, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. It's just one of those situations, and I know you can relate, where I just keep saying, okay, it's got to slow down at some point. Actually, the royal news is pretty okay. I feel like instead of just focusing on one person as we were now, it's more of a breadth rather than a depth. But that part is fine, but just life is lifing, and it's not bad. It's just life is lifing. So but all told, I'm good, and I have no complaints. How are you?
I am good. I'm in the middle of a kitchen reno. So cabinets started coming off the wall over the weekend. So
Mm.
my kitchen's a mess and I love to cook. So I'm having to get very creative with meals right now. And I think I should like put a cookbook together on reno meals. But
I mean, I think you
um
should. I would buy that. Although I do not aspire to have a kitchen reno in my near future, but I would buy any cookbook you write.
So all good over here though. I'm excited for it to come together. It's a little ways down the road. It'll be a few months, but it'll come together.
Better you than me, my friend. That is much more suited for you and your home reno personality than me, who would just be completely overwhelmed. So, better you than me. But I have been thinking a lot about you. I'm finally going to be back in Birmingham in 2 or 3 weeks' time, and I'm looking forward to seeing you when that happens. And we've got a full slate of royal news today. So, if you are ready, we can jump into the royal rundown.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, well, we saw some Prince William. So Prince William is actually headed back to work on Thursday, is his first engagement post Easter break from the kids at Lambrook. They've been off for what feels like forever. Good for them. Where was our Easter break that was a month long? But anyway, but we saw some Prince William sightings since our last episode with his mother-in-law, Carol Middleton, and his eldest, Prince George. So let's get into it. So from the pub to the pitch, as I'm calling it, William is getting out of the house some, which is good for him, of course. He, as I said, will be back at work this week as the kids are finally going back to Lambrook from their Easter break. They are due back in school, I think the 17th, which is the day this episode drops. But William will have his first engagement on Thursday. He has largely laid very low key since March 22nd and Kate's announcement that she has been diagnosed with cancer. So, as we said in previous episodes, the Wales family of five have largely been an Amner Hall, Anmer, Anmer. I can never, I always want to flip the M and the N in that word, Anmer Hall, and which is their country home. And William was apparently seen out at a pub in Norfolk alongside Carol Middleton, who, of course, is Kate's mom, who has been staying with them while they've been out at Anmer Hall. So the Daily Mail's Richard Eden wrote in his column that it was all very low key with no great fanfare. He, meaning William, just walked in, and through the pub, he appeared to be with Carol Middleton. So Kate did not join in the excursion, Eden wrote. So Eden also wrote of how subtly William is able to visit a pub and kind of just do normal everyday activities. He wrote, Prince William seems able to enjoy a pretty normal life. So, news of the surprise pub trip came the day after William interrupted his Easter break to hop on social media, marking his first public words since Kate revealed her cancer diagnosis. So, a longtime supporter of the Lionesses, which listeners, we've talked about the Lionesses before, that is England's national women's soccer team. William reacted to the news that Lioness Rachel Daly has decided to retire from international football. So, William is the president of the Football Association Association. He, of course, we know this is a huge fan of the sport, and he wrote on social media, "Thank you for so many unforgettable performances with Lionesses." And then he tagged it at Rachel Daly 3, which is her handle. And then he signed off with the letter W, which indicates that it was personally from William himself. So, speaking of soccer, William and George had a father son outing to watch their favorite soccer team, Aston Villa, play a game against Lille OSC during the UEFA Europa Conference League 2023-2020. That's a big, long title. They watched some soccer together, quarterfinal match on last Thursday. So, William and George must have been a good luck charm because Aston Villa won the match with a score of 2-1. So, did you hear anything about the mother-in-law, son-in-law pub outing, which sounds like a lot of fun? It sounds like I want to be there for that. And then the father-son soccer outing.
I did. Yes, I heard about both, and I saw some cute photos of Prince George at the game.
Yes, he had his little scarf on, just being
I
such a
know.
gentleman. Just he'll be 11 years old in July. I can't believe that. And just as William broke his social media silence since our last episode, so did Kate. So you mentioned at the top of the episode just the awful news out of Australia. So they both jointly spoke out this past Saturday, following just if listeners, if you don't know what we're talking about, please watch the news more. Maybe don't. Maybe that's better for your mental health. I don't know. But there was an awful stabbing attack that took place at a mall in Sydney, Australia. And the Prince and Princess of Wales reacted with a post on their Instagram story that read, "We are shocked and saddened by the terrible events in Sydney earlier today. Our thoughts are with all those affected, including the loved ones of those lost and the heroic emergency responders who risked their own lives to save others." And then they signed off the message WNC, which of course means William and Catherine. And as I said, we'll have more news to report next week's episode about William getting back to work, but we have not seen him in nearly a month. So I personally am excited to see him again.
I also really miss seeing this couple, Rachel. It's always fun to see them out and about. And, we take for granted that we see them. And
Mm-hmm.
then when they go away, we miss them.
Yeah.
But I am glad that they were able to align their announcement with the kids' school break and kind of go under the radar. But you mentioned hearing from them on Instagram this week, and that wasn't the only way we heard from this couple. So the Princess of Wales was actually mentioned, and I'm sure you saw this online,
Mm-hmm.
Rachel.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like Kensington Palace has been busy mailing thank you notes to
Mm-hmm.
well-wishers who had reached out to the princess following her cancer diagnosis. So someone on X shared a note that she had received from the palace, and the note read, "Thank you for your kind well wishes to Her Royal Highness, the Princess of Wales. Your thoughtful gesture is very much appreciated." So they didn't put a photo in with this thank you card. It was just a really thoughtful note. But I could not help when I saw this story and think, could you imagine opening your mailbox to find a card from the Princess of Wales?
Yeah, that would be a good mail day. I usually hate opening the mailbox. It's always bills and junk. So that would be, I mean, I guess we could, right? Like anybody's welcome to send her a letter or a card. But I
Yeah.
think good for her, by the way, for not including a photo, because you know what would happen? It would get picked apart and dissected. And who needs the drama? Just avoid it. So just send a card, say thank you. Good for them. I think that's fantastic that they're just staying above the fray. But yeah, anybody is welcome to send mail her way. And I believe that you will always get a response. I can't promise how long it will be, but yeah, that would be a great day at the mailbox. Usually my days at the mailbox involve like slight tears, especially around tax season. So I would love that.
I would definitely frame that card for
No
sure.
doubt. Even if it was just words as it
Oh,
is with
yeah.
this. It doesn't matter. It's from her office, and that's amazing.
Well, we had some other sort of interesting and unexpected news this week. So this isn't really a retirement, but it's sort of maybe a little bit of a royal retirement. The late Queen Elizabeth's cousin, the Duke of Kent, has stepped down from his role as Colonel of the Scots Guards at age 88.
Mm.
So he is actually served in this role since 1974, and that makes the longest anyone has ever held this title. And this past weekend, he attended the annual Day of Commemoration and Remembrance, and that marked his last official day as colonel. Taking over from him as the next colonel is Prince Edward, the Duke of Edinburgh. So he actually made a statement when he took over this role, and he had said, and I'm not going to quote it exactly, but he basically said it was an honor to be entrusted to serve as the next colonel. And he accepts it with a degree of trepidation because he knows that he'll be measured against the record and reputation of his predecessor. And he's not kidding. So the Duke of Kent had a 21-year career with the military. And back in 2008, he traveled to Iraq and Afghanistan to meet members of the regiment. So really, impressive career there working to serve as Colonel of the Scots Guard. And we send our well wishes to the Duke of Kent. I know he has really earned some relaxation. So hopefully he gets to enjoy that as he steps back from this role.
Absolutely. And, he's passing it on to a very low drama, reliable royal. The Duke of Kent has always been a low drama, reliable royal, at least as far as I can see and as far as I've studied. So just he's served for such a long time and served Queen Elizabeth so faithfully. So I hope that he enjoys his retirement. I'm not sure if he's completely retired, but he is, I think, one by one letting things go. He's 88 years old. He deserves it. And Prince Edward, as all of you listeners know, we're big fans of his. So that's a great
Definitely.
transition. So Harry and Meghan have really been making some moves this past week since our last episode. They have announced two new Netflix reality shows. We're going to get into all of this, but Meghan and her American Riviera Orchard has offered up their first product, and it's just a lot of things going on. Yeah, the strawberry jam. We've got things to get into. So Harry and Meghan have been busy this week. They announced two new Netflix series, both of which are in the early stages of production, but both of which are filming. So Harry's Polo Show, we'll get into the granular details in a second, but Harry's Polo Show, they were in Florida this past week, and that's where I live now, listeners. I was in the same state as the Sussexes, which is cool. So Harry's Polo Show is filming this past weekend, and then Meghan's Cookery Show actually started filming today, which is Tuesday, April 16th, as we record. So both of these shows are about it's kind of like a his and her hobby show. So each one has a show about his or her passion. So Meghan's series will celebrate the joys of cooking and gardening, entertaining, and friendship. That's according to Deadline. So cooking, we know this is a huge hobby for Meghan. And then on Harry's side, he is I associate polo with the royal family probably more than anyone else. And Harry has long been a fan of playing polo. He is often photographed playing polo internationally. And the second new series will follow the world of professional polo. And this, again, is from Deadline, shot primarily at the U.S. Open Polo Championship in Wellington, Florida, at the USPA National Polo Center. The series will explore the world of the sport, which is known primarily for its aesthetic and social scene. And then Deadline continues, it will pull the curtain back on the grit and passion of the sport, capturing players and all it takes to compete at the highest level. So to that end, Harry and Meghan were spotted at Polo in Florida, as I said, late last week. Serena Williams, Meghan's friend, even made an appearance too. Harry was seen behind the camera. So they're both, I don't know how much of a presence they'll have in front of the camera with these shows, but they're both executive producing their respective shows. So we don't have titles for the shows yet. We don't have release dates yet for the shows, but I'm going to be watching. And so I just think it's interesting that they really seem to kind of be leaning into their hobbies and their passions and who they are. I don't know if you have any thoughts on these shows.
It's hard for me to give thoughts because I don't feel like I've got enough of an idea of what it's going to look like or, what we'll expect. I mean, I know we've gotten kind of a brief explanation, but I'll be interested to see more, once it goes live or if we get a few teaser clips or something. I think I'll be able to provide some thoughts at that point, but definitely interesting. And I wasn't expecting more content, at least like this, from Netflix so soon.
Yeah. So they signed a reported $100 million deal back in 2020. The deal was for 5 years, so that's until 2025. And so, of course, we have the Harry and Meghan docuseries. We have Heart of Invictus, their Live to Lead. Now these two shows, they've got the project with the Carly Fortune novel, Meet Me at the Lake, in process. So they're busy, and who knows if the Netflix deal will be renewed, and that's a 2025 problem. We'll see, but they've certainly got a full slate to get them through 2025. And I read this week, thank you People Magazine, that we can expect American Riviera Orchard to launch this spring. I know a lot of us were wondering, well, when are we going to expect this? So it should be this spring. And summer starts June 21st, so she's on the clock, if that's true, for 2 months from now. So I am ready for my strawberry jam. And I'll talk about this in a second, but we've got 50 of Meghan's friends and some influencers that have received the very first product offering from American Riviera Orchard, which appears to be strawberry jam, according to some people's social media posts showing off the product. And as I said, the Sussexes were so busy this week. Harry also spoke alongside Mindy Kaling at a Better Up Summit in San Francisco. He participated in the Beyond Burnout session at Better Up's Uplift Summit. So, listeners, if you don't remember, Better Up is a mental health platform that Harry has served as Chief Impact Officer for since 2021. And the Uplift Summit was a 2-day conference that drew not just Harry and Mindy, but also Tracy Ellis Ross, who I love, and two of my favorite thought leaders, Adam Grant and also James Clear, who you all know I love to read books. James Clear wrote the book Atomic Habits, which I highly recommend, and I need to reread as I try to get my health back in order again, which is like my forever problem in life, but I digress. So while in Florida, so you've got Harry in San Francisco, and then he and Meghan go to Florida for polo, but that's not all Harry did when he was in Florida. He also participated in a panel discussion called Potential is Waiting at the South Beach restaurant Zaytinya in the Ritz-Carlton Hotel, which focused on distributing capital to support the next generation in Southern Africa. So as many of you know, Harry co-founded the charity Sintebale with Prince Siso of Lesotho back in 2006, and that helps young children and young people affected by poverty, inequality, and HIV/AIDS in both Lesotho and Botswana, two countries that are really important to Harry. So Harry said at the panel, and this again is per People Magazine, Africa's in my heart and Africa's in my soul. I first went there when I was 12, 13 years old, and after so many years, I wanted to give back to it because it had given me so much. The vast open space, the cultures, the community, the people, the wildlife, just the freedom was a huge piece of why I loved Africa so much. By the way, as I said, as we start to see product rollout offerings from American Riviera Orchard, 50 friends and influencers, lucky people, and we know that because on the label it said 17 of 50 or 10 of 50, have already apparently received this adorable gift basket from the company that, again, for the 5,000th time today, includes the first product offering, which appears to be strawberry jam. So I gotta know what Meghan's strawberry jam tastes like. So when I can order it, I will be ordering it. And before we move on, I want to sneak this in here. Happy birthday yesterday, April 15th, to James Middleton, who turned 37. So happy birthday, his first birthday as a dad. So that's a milestone birthday right there.
Yeah, happy birthday. I think I included a picture of him on our Instagram account
Yeah,
today on our
he had that picture with his son. I think he blocked out
Mhm.
some of his son's face, which he has every right to do. But little cutie, James is a dad. And James, if you're listening, on the 1% chance you're listening because you saw Jessica's post about you, we want you on our show, and we're gonna make that happen. I'm manifesting that and speaking that into existence. So happy birthday. Happy birthday. Give yourself a gift and come on Podcast Royal. So we love you over here.
Well, we got some news last week, right after I think we had quit recording. We were chatting about this, Rachel, but we learned that Princess Anne's son, Peter Phillips' relationship of 3 years with Lindsay Wallace has ended. And I personally was pretty surprised by this news because I feel like we've seen Lindsay accompany him to some pretty big, notable royal events. And,
Yeah.
you know, I think when we see people at these events, we assume that means the relationship is pretty serious. And like I said,
Sure.
they've been together for 3 years, but we saw her back in 2022 at the late Queen's Platinum Jubilee, We saw her again at King Charles' coronation in 2023, and we've seen her at Royal Ascot. So we don't have any official reason as to why they've chosen to go their separate ways, but we did hear it was a private matter, so we'll respect their privacy. A little bit about Peter and, kind of his background before Lindsay. So he and his ex-wife, Autumn Phillips, they divorced, I would say, fairly recently. They announced they were separated in 2020, and then they shared the news that their divorce was final in 2021. So they have two children together, Savannah and Isla. And Peter and Autumn were married for 13 years. So, Lindsay Wallace, she's also been previously married. She shares two children with her ex-husband. And a fun fact about Lindsay, she actually went to school with Peter's sister Zara. They both went to Gordonston together and they're friends. And Zara's actually been credited with introducing Peter and Lindsay. So, kind of wonder if maybe she's a little bummed that this didn't work out.
Yeah, totally.
But I heard you over there laughing, Rachel, and I think I know what you think about this, but I'm going to ask you to tell us, what are your thoughts about this breakup? Were you surprised?
Look, I think and I won't say exactly what I said because it was a curse word. But when you texted me the news, I said I don't want to be the a-hole that celebrates a breakup. Because that sucks. That would suck of me as a person to celebrate a breakup because I'm sure after 3 years, that's sad. So I won't celebrate it. Listeners, I have a crush on Peter Phillips, a big time crush on Peter Phillips, actually, but I am not single anymore. I'm in love. I wish the same for everyone, including Peter. And I was actually like genuinely surprised by this because at that age with kids involved, you don't stay together for 3 years unless you really, I would think, want to go the distance. I feel like at that age and with those, with kids involved, you don't introduce someone into your life in a serious capacity unless you really, I would think, see it going all the way. But I just, I mean, so the jerky part of me wants to be like, oh, good, he's single, he's hot, but I'm not even single. So not that I would ever meet Peter Phillips anyway. So I hope they're okay. I hope that it wasn't a traumatic breakup and that they can remain amicable and that they find what they're looking for. So, but maybe a year ago I would have been a little bit more celebratory. I don't know, but I was really shocked. Were you shocked?
Yeah, I was. And you talk about people breaking up and how you feel about that. I actually still don't think I'm over Peter and Autumn Phillips
I know. I
breaking up.
know.
So, I mean,
That's how long we've been on
I
the air, Jessica, that we've been with Peter through a divorce and a 3-year relationship breakup. That's how long Podcast Royal has been on the air. That's wild.
I know. I'm still kind of sad that they divorced
Agree.
and, was kind of rooting for them to, be able to make it work. So,
Agree. I was hoping that this generation with the last generation having had so much divorce, right? Three of the Queen's four kids went through divorces. I hoped that this generation would be divorce free, but yeah, I hate that. I just, I hope that Peter, Lindsay, Autumn, everybody finds what they're looking for.
for sure. Well, another story, I don't know if you saw, Rachel, we had a British royal meets royal from around the world moment this past week.
I
So,
actually didn't see this,
Princess
so I'm excited for you to dig into this.
Oh, good. Okay, yeah. So let's chat about this. Princess Eugenie was seen smiling for a photo with Princess Nina of Greece and Denmark. So they were both attending a sustainable fashion event. It was hosted by U.S. Ambassador to the United Kingdom, Jane Hartley. It was at Winfield House in London, and they had a reception and a panel discussion. And there was one detail about one of the photos at the event that I noticed and I thought was really cool. So, given the event was focused on sustainability, Jane Hartley, in a photo with Princess Eugenie, was actually wearing this off-the-shoulder bright green dress, which I thought was a total callback to the dress the Princess of Wales wore
Oh
during
yeah.
the Earthshot Prize
Is that the
Awards.
same dress?
It looks so similar.
Yeah.
I don't actually know. I don't have the details on who designed this dress, but we know that this event was focused on sustainability. We know that Earthshot Prize is an environmental event, so I thought that was kind of cool.
Well, first of all, Kate's dress didn't have the belt on it, but Kate did rent that dress. Do you remember that? And
I
so
do.
maybe she got the dress off the same site and just added a belt to it. That looks like the exact same dress.
This episode is brought to you by Bumble. So, you want to find someone you're compatible with, specifically someone who's ready for a serious connection, totally open to having kids in the future, is a tall, rock-climbing Libra, and loves rom-coms with vegan pizzas on Tuesdays just as much as you do. Bumble knows that you know exactly what's right for you. So, whatever it is you're looking for, Bumble's features can help you find it. Date now on Bumble.
Sephora stores are everywhere you are. So just pop in when you need a brown lip to match your 90s playlist. A confidence boost before your interview? Or a last-minute gift for mom's birthday. There's always a Sephora near you. Just pop in. Use our store locator to find your local Sephora or Sephora at Kohl's.
Okay, so let's talk about this royal crossover moment. We'll go back to Princess Nina of Greece and Denmark, and this is kind of just we don't really talk about Princess Nina much on here, so this is a little bit of a let me fill everybody in moment. But she was a guest also at this event, and like I said, she was seen in a photo with Princess Eugenie, and they are actually distant cousins by marriage. So Nina was born in Switzerland to a non-royal family. Fun fact, I learned I actually share a birthday with her.
Oh,
We were born on
cool.
the same day. So in 2020, she married Prince Philoppos of Greece and Denmark, and he is actually the son of the late King Constantine of Greece. And
Oh,
if
yeah.
that rings a bell, yeah, that is the Constantine who is Prince William's godfather. They had his memorial service back in February. I know we all remember that. So
That's the day the
this
wheels
means,
fell off, was that memorial service. Not to
yeah,
make
yeah.
light of that, but yeah, that's the day that everything kind of fell apart.
Yeah, so this means that Nina's father-in-law was King Constantine, and her mother-in-law is Queen Anne-Marie of Denmark. So for a little more context, Queen Anne-Marie was actually born Princess Anne-Marie of Denmark, and she is the younger sister of Queen Margrethe of Denmark.
No.
And we all know her. She abdicated the throne recently and to let her son Frederik take over as king. So there's a little tie in there.
They're all
And when
related, Jessica. There's so many crossovers.
I know. When the then Princess Anne-Marie married the then Crown Prince Constantine of Greece, he later became the last king of Greece because the Greek royal family is no longer reigning. But because a Danish princess married a Greek prince, Anne-Marie, her children are recognized as being of Greece and Denmark.
Mm,
So another fun fact, Anne-Marie and Constantine, they were married. They were also third cousins.
okay. No judgment, but
Um,
okay. Everybody's
so
related.
anyway, yes, yeah, that's the short of it all, right? So anyway, Nina married their son, Prince Philoppos of Greek and Denmark, which makes her Princess Nina of Greece and Denmark. And this actually isn't the first time she's hung out with Princess Eugenie. She and her husband were at Princess Eugenie and Jack Brookbank's wedding in 2018. So another kind of a fun fact there. And I know I mentioned that they were Eugenie and Nina are cousins through marriage. So a little backstory there. Several decades ago, Princess Alexandra of Denmark married Queen Victoria's eldest son, Edward VIII, in 1901. At that time, he was the Prince of Wales. They later became the King and Queen of England. So that's, a little bit more of how Eugenie is related to our Danish royals.
There will be
And
a
like you
pop quiz
said,
later, listeners. So get ready for your pop quiz. That's a lot of information. That's such rich information.
I know you need to like take a pencil and
I
write
know
all
I'm
this
like taking notes over here fastidiously.
We need like a big web with like lines drawn.
Yes, we need a big family tree.
So you said there were a lot of crossovers. Very true. And another reminder, the late Queen Elizabeth's husband, Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, he was born Prince Philip of Greece and Denmark. So
Yep.
like you said, everyone's related, but
Right.
that's kind of your little fun little fun royal crossover tie-in there.
Love
And
it.
with that, I think it wraps up our royal rundown.
Nice. Well, we do have a pretty stacked royals around the world. So let's start with you. I know you've got a lot of royals are
Yeah.
traveling right now.
Yeah, we've got a lot of traveling royals, a lot of birthdays, and I think our royals around the world might be bigger than Royal Rundown
I
today.
think you're right.
So a few birthdays to mention at the top. Happy Sweet 16 to Princess Eleonore of Belgium. She celebrates today when we're recording. It's April 16th. And in honor of her birthday, the palace shared 2 portraits of her online. She is the youngest child of King Philippe of Belgium. And a fun fact about them, they almost share a birthday. So the king celebrated his 64th birthday the day before her on April 15th. But the birthdays do not stop there. The king had the honor of blowing out some birthday candles atop a really cute dessert alongside Grand Duke Henri of Luxembourg, who actually turned 69 today, April 16th, and he really does share a birthday with Princess Eleanor. So a lot of close birthdays, and it may be because these royals are actually related. It just keeps getting wilder, Rachel.
Yes.
Um, so the king and the Grand Duke happen to actually be first cousins.
Oh.
I did share this photo, like I mentioned when I shared, I think it was in the same post of the one with James Middleton. I shared a photo of the king and the Grand Duke blowing out their birthday candles on what looked like some kind of a really yummy raspberry tart. There were a few candles on top. And if you are wondering why they are celebrating together, their birthdays happen to align with the official state visit of Luxembourg to Belgium. So that visit kicked off today, and we got some really lovely photos from this so far, including a tiara moment. I don't know if you've had a chance to look, Rachel. They've kind of just been coming out, so we barely got it into our news today.
I have not seen that. So I'm looking at the photo that you dropped in here in
Awesome.
the Google Doc.
Okay, so to get started, the king and queen greeted the Grand Duke and Grand Duchess in front of the Palace of Laeken. And I'm just going to go ahead and say I absolutely loved Queen Mathilde's outfit.
I do
So
too.
she was in a light pink Dior dress and fascinator. And it was actually raining when everyone arrived. So they had these clear umbrellas. And I thought it just made for really beautiful photos.
Mathilde looks amazing. She looks elegant and chic as can be.
Yes, I was going to pause and let you give me your thoughts on her.
Oh, she's
Love
just, I mean, does it get more chic than this? And the pink Dior with the hat, a little bit a la Jackie Kennedy with her little purse. It's just, and she's got gloves on. She's perfection.
It's more of this monochromatic look, and I just love that pale blush color.
Yeah, that's gorgeous. Like it's just so elegant and refined and of another era. And Matilda is absolutely beautiful.
I agree. So after this, the royal couples later on, they did a balcony appearance and they're on a 3-day visit. And the purpose of this visit is to highlight the good relations and collaborations between the two countries. So in addition to their balcony appearance, they visited the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier for a ceremony remembering those killed during both of the world wars. They also walked through City Hall in Brussels, and tomorrow they'll be greeting public in Ghent, followed by Thursday, where they'll be in Liège. And if you are in Belgium this week, maybe you can plan a royal sighting around some of those events. So check the calendar, and if you're nearby, hopefully you'll get to see them.
I'm just thinking of our listener right now who always writes in and says, "Can you talk more about the Belgian royal family?" Here you go, just for you.
Yeah, I mean, they're fun to talk about, and I just feel like we get some of the most beautiful photos from their
Yeah,
events.
Mathilde is just so highly underrated as a fashion icon, and she's gorgeous.
Well, tonight they closed out the first day of the visit with a state banquet at Laeken Castle. And again, this royal content, it just makes me so happy. I feel like seeing these photos, it's like watching a fairy tale to me. Like all of the outfits that they wear is just so storybook. And I really, really do love it. So this banquet is in celebration of the ties that unite the countries. And while there, King Philippe gave a speech where he spoke of the friendship shared between Belgium and Luxembourg. And photos from this event are already coming available online. So, and I say that because it was really just happening like a few hours ago. And I wasn't able to get IDs on all of the outfits yet, but they were stunning. So some of the photos, I'll try to share them on Instagram after we record, but pictures of the castle alone are just gorgeous. I mean, if no one was even there, they're just so pretty to look at. And on top of that, like I said, we've got dresses and tiaras. So Grand Duchess Maria Teresa of Luxembourg wore a strapless black full-length dress with this kind of bubblegum pink shawl wrapped around her shoulders. And she paired it with her diamond scroll tiara and this magenta toned sash. And what I'm going to say about this is at first glance, I really did not love this color combo. To me, the lighter pink shawl with the black dress is just not a favorite pairing. There's something about the dark and the light that I don't know, I just don't find them to be very pleasing.
Mhm.
But then I saw what her husband was wearing, and all of a sudden her outfit made complete sense to me. So he was in a dark uniform and he had the same magenta toned sash. And when I saw the two of them together, they just matched so well. And to me, I thought that's really a lesson in how much context matters when it comes to fashion.
Mhm.
And she was trying to match with her husband, and I think paired together they look great. So any thoughts on them?
Yeah, well, I have more thoughts on Mathilde, but I'll save those. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's a good call out. I think if you look at her solo, it might not make as much sense as it does make looking at them as a couple. I think that they of course were a unit probably throughout the entire night. So I think that the colors make actually really coordinated total sense when you look at them as a couple, as a unit. I think that's a
Yeah.
good call out.
Well, let's talk about the King and Queen of Belgium. So similarly, they were in matching gold tone sashes, and the king was also in a dark uniform. Queen Mathilde was ultimate princess vibes for
Killing
this
it.
event. She was in this gorgeous ice blue sparkling dress. It had sheer full length sleeves, a flowing skirt, and of course she paired it with the Nine Provinces tiara. And quick shout out to the court jeweler for identifying that tiara so quickly.
Love the
I
court
saw that online and
jeweler.
I was like, I've got to put that in there. So the tiara actually dates back to 1926, and I thought it could not have been a better choice for this ensemble. Really big fashion win to Mathilde for this first day,
Mhm.
from the light pink Dior dress to the ice blue gown and sparkling tiara this evening. And I think I just have a personal love for this ice blue color. I
Yeah.
also loved it when Princess Beatrice wore it to the Jordan royal wedding last
Mhm.
year. But this dress is gorgeous. What did you think?
So the ice blue color is a favorite of mine as well. It actually reminds me of when Kate was in the Bahamas. Remember that ice blue dress
Hmm.
from the Caribbean tour in 2022? It's pretty much the exact same color. Yeah, I mean, what a fashion show for Mathilde today. That is I how many days is this visit? Because I want more. I want more looks from Mathilde. So
Yeah,
she
we've got two more.
okay, well I'm sure she'll keep bringing it. But yeah, I mean, if there's a it's not a competition, but if there's a fashion winner here, it's Mathilde for me, and that ice blue is stunning. I would wear that dress in a heartbeat.
Yeah, and I think some of this is a little intentional too. I sort of feel like when you're the visiting country, normally those royals kind of tone down their jewels and their outfits
Mhm.
because they don't want to outshine the host. I,
Yeah.
I, I don't think I've ever officially seen that written, but I get that feeling.
I mean, that's just being respectful. That's just manners.
It's called etiquette.
Exactly. It's called etiquette, people. Come on. But yeah, I mean, I think that Matilda, I mean, I can't wait for the next 2 days. I'm sure you'll report on that next week. She looks absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, and one more fun fact for this event. So, when Belgian royals host state banquets, they bring in students from hotel schools to serve at the banquet. So this time they selected the Hotel School of Naaman, and they actually shared a video online. It was really cool of the students being fitted for their uniforms that they would wear when they were serving at the event. And the students looked so young to me. I mean, I assume they were probably college age, like late teens, early 20s, but they were trying on these bright red and gold coats and the white gloves. And some of them had these dark coats with vests. And they all looked really excited to be a part of the banquet. They were smiling and laughing and having a good time. And I just loved seeing that video. But like Rachel said, we'll continue to follow this event. We'll report on the last 2 days next week. And we'll also mention real quick, the official state visit of Spain to the Netherlands actually just kicked off. I mean, like very late today. We don't even have anything to report on yet. So we'll have more on that next episode too.
Yeah, we mentioned that, I think, last week about Catherine Amalia will be at the state banquet and she's probably going to wear a tiara. So I'm sure we'll talk about that next week, as you said.
Yeah.
Well, let's go over to Denmark. So it's actually Queen Margrethe's birthday today, the 16th. Got a gorgeous couple of new portraits from her, but we'll get there. So we learned this week how the Danish royal family is going to celebrate King Frederik's first birthday on the throne, plus mark Queen Margrethe's birthday, which is today. So normally, right, monarchs tend to pass away on the throne. So we don't have to worry about how are we going to celebrate the current monarch's birthday with the past monarch. Like, think of Trooping the Color in the UK. I don't even know how they would mark that, right, with the current monarch and the former monarch who is still living. So both King Frederik of Denmark and his mother Queen Margrethe have birthdays coming up. Again, Margrethe's is today. And this past week, the Danish royal house announced the plans for the first birthday of the king's reign, again along with how it will mark the queen's birthday, which of course is her first since abdicating the throne in favor of Frederik back in January. So the palace wrote in a statement, His Majesty the King turns 56 years old on May 26, 2024. On this occasion, His Majesty and the royal family will appear on the balcony of Frederik VIII's palace at noon. It says 12 o'clock, but I'm going to assume it's noon and not midnight. Doesn't say AM or PM, but the royal lifeguard will be in red full dress uniforms on the king's birthday, and the lifeguard will carry out a grand changing of the guard ceremony at Amalienborg Palace Square at 11:50. So this is kind of similar, as we just mentioned, to the British royal family's Trooping the Color, which of course takes place every June. But before that, again, for the 5,000th time, Queen Margrethe's birthday is today, and the palace wrote of this occasion, Her Majesty Queen Margrethe's 84th birthday on April 16th, 2024, will be celebrated privately at Fredensborg Palace. In connection with the changing of the guard at Fredensborg Palace, the band of the Royal Lifeguards will perform a small concert in the inner palace yard. So that happened today. So Fredensborg Palace, by the way, is a seasonal retreat for the Danish royal family, often used in the summer months, kind of like Balmoral is for the British royal family. So we got, and I dropped this in the Google Doc, we got a couple, but I just chose my favorite. I think this is a gorgeous new portrait of Margrethe for her birthday, and I love that color too. If you like that blood, that's kind of, how would we describe that color? It's
a lilac.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It could either be lilac or it could be kind of like I think it's probably lilac.
Orchid.
Like, yeah. Oh, that's a good. Good clutch coming in the clutch for me there. Yeah, I would say orchid is probably a good descriptor. I mean, look, if I'm even alive at 84, if I can look that good at 84, I'll take it. She looks beautiful. The picture I chose to drop in here, there's another one of her walking, I think, in the hallway of the palace, but the picture I chose to drop in here is her standing near a window, and the lighting is beautiful. She's beautiful. And so what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I love this photo. I actually included this one on our Instagram story today as well. And I thought it was gorgeous. I love the background of the photo. I love her and her dress. And the other one that they shared, she had her dog in
That's
the
right.
picture.
Yeah, sorry I didn't pick the one with the dog, but I just
No, but I think
love
this was the right choice. This was a great birthday photo. I love it.
Yeah, she looks absolutely stunning. So happy birthday, Your Majesty.
And if we're taking any inspiration on interiors from palaces
no
here,
kidding.
turquoise seems to be the color of choice for this room.
Yeah, that's actually really, really gorgeous. But yeah, she looks great.
Well, I'm really happy she had a wonderful birthday today. But, unfortunately, Rachel, some of the Queen's celebrations were postponed because we had some sad and really unexpected news come out of Denmark. So,
Right.
a fire broke out this morning at Copenhagen's historic stock exchange building known as Borsen. So, this building is a famous landmark in Copenhagen. I've never been to Denmark, but I've seen photos, and if you've seen this building before, you'll probably recognize its spire at the top. And when I got online to check news this morning, I saw a video of the building in flames, and I saw the spire in flames, and I watched it collapse. And when I did, I couldn't help but be reminded of the fire at Notre Dame that I know
Yeah.
we all remember back. I think it was in 2019, and it was just very reminiscent of that to me.
Mm-hmm.
Miraculously, though, there were no reported injuries when I last checked online, but it's still, really heartbreaking anytime a piece of history like this is lost. So, kind of disappointing news for her to wake up to today. But King Frederik did release a statement following this event, and he said, I'm going to quote him really quick. The Queen and I would like to thank all of those who, since early this morning, have ensured that no one has been injured and who have fought to save as much as possible of both the building as well as the many cultural treasures and works of art the Borzen holds. So the palace also shared an update later on online to confirm that Queen Margrethe's birthday celebration would be postponed. However, people did show up to Fredensborg Castle, and she did greet people at the steps alongside Frederik and Mary. We did get some photos from that event, and the royal bodyguard was in uniform. They marched through the town. So, like I said, I'm happy that, even though we had this kind of really sad event earlier in the day, I'm glad she was able to enjoy some nice weather. She had a crowd to greet her, and very thankful no one was injured in those fires.
Yeah, that's such a blessing. And I hate that, her any birthday, but especially her first birthday after abdicating was, kind of, I don't know if you call it tainted in that. I mean, it's certainly not a happy occasion, but again, so thankful for no loss of life and hopeful that she was still able to find some happy moments today. Well, let's move to Spain. So we are really all over the world today with royals around the world. So King Philippe of Spain has given us a health update on his mother, Queen Sofia, after she was hospitalized in Madrid. So Sofia is 85 years old. She was reportedly admitted for a urinary tract infection last Tuesday, April the 9th. And the king said of his mother that she is very well, cheerful, and eager to be discharged and return as soon as possible. So he told the media this from his car, according to Ola. And ABC Spain reported that Sofia's condition was very rapid and favorable. And Sofia is the wife of King Juan Carlos, who abdicated the throne in 2014. So just continued prayers for her health. Again, just like King Harold of Norway, anybody that's hospitalized at that age kind of gives me pause. So just continued prayers for good health for Queen Sofia.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Rachel, let's travel on over to Jordan because
This
we've
was
got a royal
maybe my news of the week. This is some of my favorite news of the week.
Yeah, so we've got some royal baby news.
Love it.
Last week, it was announced that Princess Rajwa and Crown Prince Hussein of Jordan are expecting their first child.
Yay.
And so this is, a little bit of a surprise. I think they've been keeping it a secret for a while because the announcement said that Rajwa is actually due this summer. So that's just a few months away.
We really haven't seen much of them since they got married, so there's why. Because they've got a new addition coming our way.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense now. But they have, this couple's had really a year full of changes. So I know listeners remember we had their wedding last summer. The Prince and Princess of Wales attended that wedding. Then
Everybody
Rajwa,
attended that wedding. That was the royal wedding of
well,
the year for sure.
that's true. That's true. Rajwa also sadly lost her father a few months ago. We reported on that. And, now they are about to welcome what will be the first grandchild for King Abdullah and Queen Rania. So that'll be really exciting for the king and queen to have their very first grandchild join the family.
Absolutely.
We have heard that their child will receive a royal title. So he or she will be His or Her Royal Highness and Prince or Princess. Another fun fact about the royal baby, if it's a boy, it will be second in line to the throne, but not if it's a girl. So in that case, there will be no changes to the current line of succession. So right now, under King Abdullah, Crown Prince Hussein is the first in line to the throne. And then after him, it's his younger brother, Prince Hashem. So both Princess Rajwa and Prince Hussein, they're 29 years old. I actually forgot that they were that young.
Yeah, I did too, actually.
But yeah, so we'll wait to see if we have any changes to the line of succession when the baby's born.
I really, really love this couple, like a lot. Like when I heard this news, I had the chance to go back and look at some of the pictures from their wedding, which was June 1st of last year. And they just look so in love. And
They do.
I'm so thrilled for I know that it has to have been just a roller coaster of a year for Rajwa with her wedding and all that comes with coming into the public eye like that, and then losing her father and then being pregnant. So congratulations to the royal family of Jordan. I know that's got to be so exciting, obviously, for the parents to be, but also the grandparents to be, the king and queen. So happy news is my favorite news. And I think we're going to end. No, we've got two more royals around the world stories, but I got to sneak this in here because any episode which just never happens that I get to talk about Peter Phillips and Prince Carl Philip of Sweden.
And James Middleton.
and James Middleton. My God, spoil of riches over here. But this is very old news to podcast royal listeners. If you've been listening for any length of time, you know who Prince Carl Philip of Sweden is. But apparently, Jessica, the internet has suddenly awakened to the magic that is Carl Philip, this who, of course, listeners, is the only son of Sweden's King Carl Gustaf and Queen Sylvia. I feel so sorry for people that are just now finding out who Carl Philip is. Like, I'm sorry that you've had to be deprived of this beauty for any length of time. So, according to people, the hashtag Prince Carl Philip is lighting up TikTok right now. Overall, this is dated. This is from a couple of days ago. I'm sure it's way more than this now, but at the time it was over 111 million views and counting. I mean, when you find a good thing, you find a good thing. You know what I mean? So the most popular video about Carl Philip is a montage of his life from his late teenage years to the present day. That one has been viewed alone over 5.8 million times, although I'm sure it's well over 6 million by now. So the clip chronicles Prince Carl Philip through the years at various white tie events and diplomatic dinners in naval uniform. Those are personally my favorite photos of Carl Philip, and at official engagements, plus having a little fun as a competitive race car driver. People reports multiple commenters swooned that the Duke of Varmland was hot, gorgeous, and handsome. Well, yes, Captain Obvious. Yes, he is. I cannot argue with him there. So again, any episode with the trifecta of James and Peter and Carl Philip, that's just going to make my day. I just feel, again, so bad for not for listeners, you're well aware, but for people that just have not known about Carl Philip, who I think one commenter said he is the world's most handsome royal, and I back that up. I can't think of anybody else that compares. So that is that's, I had to throw that in there for Sweden, and welcome to the world of Carl Philip, everybody.
I love it. That's great. That's awesome that he's trending on TikTok.
I mean, why wouldn't he? Like, all someone has to do is throw a picture up or throw a video up, and boom, he goes viral. So, well, I think as we close royals around the world, we just talked about the royal wedding around the world of 2023, but I think we've got some insight to the royal wedding of the whole globe. I can't even speak, for 2024. So, where are we headed for this royal wedding?
Yeah, we got an interesting update here out of Norway. So a wedding date has been announced for Princess Martha Louise of Norway and her fiance, Dirk Verrett. So we, like you said, Rachel, we've talked about this couple in the past. I know you specifically went into a lot of detail about their story on a previous episode. It's a little bit of a controversial one. So as a reminder, their relationship was made public in 2019. And Martha Louise actually stepped back from her royal duties to pursue her relationship, and that included handing over her patronages as well as her royal titles. So her fiance is Actually, he's from the San Francisco Bay Area of California, and he is a self-proclaimed shaman. And like I said, Rachel, I remember you talking about this, but the two have kind of been described as a little bit more bohemian and living more of an alternative lifestyle, very different probably from how she grew up in Norway. When she stepped down from her royal duties, she did claim that, it was amicable between her and her family. And then, we did hear the King and Queen of Norway ultimately gave her their blessing. But controversy is still kind of surrounding this couple. And now, though, it's actually coming from her fiance side of the family. Apparently, her fiance's mother has given an interview, and I think it was to a Norwegian news outlet, where she claimed that, her son has led people to believe that he was very wealthy growing up, and she is claiming that that was not the case. So he has apparently told media outlets that they had servants and a private plane, and his mother is saying this is not true, that they did not have money growing up. And it's kind of become this back and forth, which I'm not really sure why this matters, honestly.
Right. Like it doesn't matter.
It's always family drama around the weddings and
Happened to Princess Mako of Japan too, with her and it's just her in-laws, Kai Kamuro's family. It's just
Yeah, the spotlight just does something to people. But
Mhm.
so Martha Louise, actually, she went and shared quite a long rant on her Instagram account, and she was trying to back up her fiance's claims with, she shared photos of his childhood home, and she even, I think she had some quotes from some friends of his that he grew up with, and then she actually said at the end of her post, and I'm going to quote her, she said, "Please don't believe what," and I'm going to say his, I think it was the Norwegian outlet, says about Durek or
I saw
me
this
leading up
post,
to the
yeah.
wedding.
Mm-hmm.
From experience, I know it will get worse as we move closer to the wedding. It is so sad that it needs to be this way. As a wedding, it should be a joyous occasion for everyone involved, also us, end quote. So anyway, unfortunate, but the couple plans to get married on August 31st of this year. They'll have a multi-day celebration in Norway. And the event will kick off on Thursday for a meet and greet party with what's been described as a sexy and cool dress code.
What does that mean? I need more information, but anyway.
I'm thinking like beach vibes or something like Miami or
Okay.
something maybe.
Okay.
So the following day they'll do a 3-hour boat trip along the Norwegian coastline where they'll see the Seven Sisters waterfall, and they'll close out that day with dinner and dancing. And then the whole 3-day event will conclude on the last day where the guests will attend their wedding ceremony. And from what I've seen so far on these reports, it doesn't look like the Norwegian royal family will be in attendance. So we'll let you know if we have any update on that. And I think it's probably also safe to say the groom's mother is probably not going to be there either. So
yeah, 3 days and 3 hours on a boat is a really long time with people that you're not necessarily getting along with at the moment. But it does sound like it's going to be a heck of a party, and they've got their sexy and cool clothes on. So I think I'm going to call it now. I think this is going to be our royal wedding of 2024.
We'll see. We may have some other surprise announcements. Who knows? Anything could happen. I'm not aware of any, but
and they've been engaged since June of 2022. So they've been engaged for quite a long time. So I'm glad they're finally going to pull the trigger and do this. So congratulations.
definitely. They've definitely had a lot of time to plan this.
Yes,
So,
they have.
I would expect nothing less than a 3-day event.
Yes.
All right. Well, that does it for us today. Rachel, thanks for joining me again for another fun episode. I think we had a lot of fun, interesting stories today.
We were all over the place, like literally all over the world today. So, and I like episodes like that. So, in the absence of the Princess of Wales, who of course we can't wait to see again, we're just going to go from Sweden and Norway to Jordan to everywhere.
Definitely. All right. Well, listeners, I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. We always have fun here with you. And as always, please come hang out with us on Instagram at Podcasts Royal. If you do want to reach out to us with thoughts, talk to us about royal fashion or whatever you want to do. If you have questions, you can send us a DM or you can email us at hellopodcastroyal@gmail.com. Please also feel free to take time to rate and review the podcast. Click the follow button so you get our episodes downloaded automatically and you don't miss anything. And thanks for tuning in to episode 136 of Podcast Royal. Bye.
Bye.